It's been a little bit since I've made a video. It's been kind of a weird few weeks. We were on vacation and you guys saw the video that I did after that. The next weekend we had a big rainstorm that caused a lot of flash flooding, and I'm going to put a video from that Sunday out after this video. And so we were dealing with just like a lot of water and a lot of things. Hi, buddy. I'm a very wet cat this morning. Hi, are you all wet? It's been raining for like 3 straight days, so I'm surprised the store is open, but he's not in here yet. Here he comes. So kind of had to spend the weekend and the next week sort of dealing with the aftermath of all the rain. And you guys will kind of see in that video how bad it was. Set you down. Moved all the dog food and cat food for the winter. And then the next weekend, my parents were here visiting, and I didn't really want to spend a ton of time on videos and stuff while they were visiting. It's raining. Yeah. So, and then it's been 3 weeks. So the next weekend, just honestly, work has been really tough the past few weeks, and I just didn't want to spend time doing a whole lot of anything. I just kind of wanted to stay in motion, and I just didn't feel like doing it. To feed the pigs. So that's life. My job's one of those jobs that it can kind of be really heavy at times, and this was not what I wanted to do. So I didn't. I think that's fine. We've moved the pigs. Gosh, it's muddy, guys. Not that you care. Here you go. Okay, so now that those guys are fed, Hank, are you causing trouble? They always. Poor dudes. There's Shrub. Hi, Kitty. So this is kind of the problem that we've been dealing with. So all this water in the barn. It's like I said, it's been raining for 3 straight days, and so last weekend what we did was try to figure out how the water was coming in the barn, and our guess, which was right, it just wasn't the only problem, was that water was kind of blowing in through this big door, and outside was higher than inside, and the water was just kind of flooding in and going this way. That was happening because all of this is dry. This side of the barn is dry. And I think that's what was happening. So we got some just cheap dirt, some topsoil, and made kind of a ridge right here and filled in the holes, and that has worked out really well. We also hung this gate, which you can see is not like super effective at keeping them in. They can go underneath right here, but what we did was we hung this and wrapped it in a tarp, and that kept rain from blowing in. And we did this because we had super severe weather Sunday night into Monday morning, and we wanted to kind of keep water from blowing in. So that has helped. The problem is that, from what I can tell now, is that there's water coming in from the old chicken coop underneath this wall and coming, and that's what this is. That's what all this water down here is. I don't know, you can't really see it. In the alleyway is, and then it's seeping across. So this is all higher, but here is a low spot, so it's come underneath here, and this is wet. You can kind of see the standing water there. So it's rolled in from here, it's gone here, it's under this table, and then it's created kind of a wet spot right here. So much better than what it was. You'll see in the video from a couple of weeks ago that there was literally standing water here, standing water all in here, all the way around, all on the edge, all along the back, and most of this stall has standing water in it, and all underneath there had standing water. So with 11 goats in here, it was hard for everybody to have a dry place to sleep. So we think we've sort of fixed that problem. Granted, this rain has been just a slow, steady rain. So it's not been as hard to manage. Also, I made 3 new hay feeders. So I started with, honestly, with this right here. And all it is we had this welded wire fence. And I guess it's a tie, it's not a weld. On the outside, it's on the outside, you can see here from when we had chickens to keep them in. And I just pulled it apart from the cattle panel, and kind of wedged hay in between it, and they're eating the hay through the cattle panel. It's worked amazing, and it was already there, and I didn't have to do anything. So I took an extra piece of the wire of this fence that I had and just hooked it into, you can kind of see, wrapped the ends around this part of the fence, then tied it. I had to tie it over here in some places and bent it around and shoved hay down in it. They're not wasting as much of this. I know there's hay on the floor. This is kind of intentional because it's wet. Not wasting near as much as they were wasting out of this feeder. That's really pretty, but it takes up a lot of square footage. So we're kind of even considering whether or not I'm going to keep this feeder because I could have more sleeping space. But it works really well, so we'll probably keep it. I know, nurse. And then also made this one very much the same way. Move this big girl out of the way. Move over. Move. Daisy. Move. This same thing. I just took a cattle panel. This wall had no fencing on it. There was no reason for it to. So I took a cattle panel and put behind, I don't know if you can see it, it's behind this wooden beam. And then I put the wire mesh panel in front of the wood and tied it. This one's a little bit tighter, so I don't feel like it works quite as well. But they seem to be eating fine out of it and definitely not wasting as much hay out of this one. And you can see we cut a hole in the side of the fence over here so they can eat out of the side of this feeder as well. I know. My pretties. It is going to rain most of the morning, and that's why they're all still locked up even after breakfast, which is making it really hard to get out of the stall because Daisy's in the way. Don't mind me. So, yeah, that has worked really well. And I don't know if you guys had seen this little bed that we did, which was just cinder blocks and a board. I need to sweep it off. But it works really well. There are 3 cinder blocks, one here, and one in the middle. And we just set on top of it. And that kind of just, again, gets them a little bit elevated in case that gets wet. And also made this feeder easier for them to eat out of. So it's going to rain still until this afternoon. So what I'm going to do is keep everybody locked up. And if you've been following me on the Instagram stories, you know why. So goats have a hierarchy. Most livestock do. It's not unique to goats. And you have head goats, you have more dominant goats, and you have goats that are lower on the totem pole. And for us, Daisy and Zelda are our head goats, depending what day and what other goats. So what they tend to do, and I've talked about this before, is they'll go feeder to feeder to feeder and run everyone off. And nobody will have anything be able to eat because they're turds. They're just goats. I mean, that's just kind of how they are. And it wouldn't help to get rid of them. So if I said, okay, Daisy's the problem, she's mean, I'm going to get rid of her, another goat would step up. And for us, it would probably be these 2. The 4 of them get along really well. Poppy is Daisy's granddaughter, so nobody really messes with her. She doesn't fight anybody. She's not pushy. She's really sweet and will get along with anybody. I could put her in any of these pens and it would be fine. She prefers to stay with Daisy because that's grandma. These guys plus Nani are my lowest on the totem pole. So Nani is probably the very lowest goat on the totem pole between her and Link at this point. So everyone gives her a hard time. It's hard for her to get food when they're having to be confined. And like, I don't have to confine them. I could leave this gate open. No one's going to leave the barn because it's raining and goats are high maintenance. They don't like to be wet. It's bad for their feet for them to be wet. It's kind of an adaptive thing. So what would happen is Daisy would definitely chase Nani out of the barn. She would chase Link out of the barn, and she might chase Bunny out. Bunny and Nani usually go in a pen together because they love each other. But now that I have Padme, it kind of creates kind of a conundrum. I know. Hard to wait. I don't know why everybody's so mean to you. You're just the sweetest goat. So I had 4 of them. I actually had Nani in this pen with them. And I had Daisy and Zelda and Poppy in this pen. And then Cece and Tink and Twiz and Pixie out here. I was trying to get less goats in a pen. 3, trying to kind of keep it to 3. So, sweet girl. I tried this last night, this combination of Cece and Nani, who typically get along. Cece's kind of a loner. She and Tink basically spend their time together. Okay, let me just come in. Oh, gosh. Yeah, let me just come in. Hi. So, we tried this combination last night, and I think it worked pretty well. We have I have a goat cam. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you wouldn't know that, but if you do, you know that we have a goat cam. And I watched the flashback of last night, and they didn't fight at all, and everybody ate and slept next to each other, and that's just kind of all I'm going for. And you can see they're not fighting right now over me, which is a good sign. And I got this little booger. Hi, Tinker. I know, Mama loves you. So, that actually worked out really well. So, they will stay in these pens until it stops raining this afternoon, then I'll let everybody out. Because I want everybody to be able to have something to eat. And we have 4 feeders. You would think that they could all figure that out. But more than likely what will happen is somebody would end up outside. We have the lean-to with the extra hay feeder, but because their roof has kind of fallen off, it's pretty wet, and I would just prefer to keep them as dry as possible, especially since we fought hoof rot in the spring because of all the rain. I'm just trying to be really careful with their feet. I don't like keeping them pinned up, but sometimes you have to kind of make a choice. Like, their feet are going to be all screwed up. They're going to be wet. It's going to suck for them, but it's going to be less impactful to keep them pinned up for a few hours. And they don't really mind it, to be honest. Like, nobody's trying to break out. Nobody's in here screaming. They have food. They've got their friends. They're not going to go out anyway. And this girl, she's making like the best face right now. Let me see if I can get her to do it again. Is that good, Nani? Oh, no, don't fight. Like, she's happy. She's really happy to just have a spot to be that she doesn't have to fight someone over. So I kind of think that that's worth it. So they all have their own water. It's a little bit more work for me, so I'm having to dump water probably twice a day because they poop in it. My goal is to have it hung up to where it's kind of at eye level where they can't poop in it, especially now that Daisy's not in one of these stalls. Say, feel me, Mama. Feel me. Yes. Where's Tinker? Tinker does Tinker. It's your belly. I know. These such pretty girls. I know. So more work for me, but better conditions for them, which is super important. So I'm really excited about how this has worked. I think kidding season is going to go really well with this setup, and I'm really excited just to kind of see how it works. Hi, there's my sweet girl. Never far from mama. And then we got a little bit over here. Say hi. Say hi, Tink. Oh, big goats. I can't squat forever. Do not have the greatest joints anymore. So, it's really working well, and I really like it. Like I said, it's a little bit more work for me. I've got to start getting up earlier in the morning before work because it's taking me longer to sweep off beds, fill up hay feeders, and muck everything out. So I'm mucking out all this hay every morning and every evening now because I don't want it to build up and get wet. She's such a mama's girl. Yeah. We did start a compost pile. Let me walk over here and show that to you. So we set that up when we did the gate because I was just like raking all this excess hay like out here, and that, I mean, it's fine, but it's also covering up food at the end of the day. It'll all break down and turn to dirt over the winter. And so we started just composting all the muck over there, which I think is a really good solution. Next steps are to kind of get, this is a bunch of trash, this is trash. I've disassembled most of all these gates that came out. This gate probably needs to be moved out of here and like stacked over there somewhere. Get the kennel out. Get this shower door that's been here since we moved here out, and some of the tin thrown away. And then I think we're really in a good spot with this barn. Get these waterers hung up. Also kind of want to run a hose, a different kind of hose. So right now I have this hose and I fill up this bucket. I need to get rid of this bucket. We don't need it anymore. Maybe like here and hang, you know, this water here and a water for this pen right here, and have a hose where I can just fill them up here instead of having to. Right now I'm taking these buckets outside to the tap that's around the corner, filling them up and carrying them all the way back in here. They need fresh water. See, this is how this is working. You can see the feeders. She's got her head in this one. Even Tink can reach to eat. Not a ton of waste. Pops, did I scare you? And these guys all eating. I mean, this is great. There are 11 goats in here, and like all but these guys are eating out of a hay feeder, and her, because she wants pets. It just works really well. And normally they would chase Patty off, but since she's on the other side of this fence, she can eat out of this hay feeder too, which is really nice. And you can see Zelda just ran Poppy off, which is fine because there's a feeder over here she can eat out of. But it'll just, I think that'll be easier for the water. Number one, to have it hang up so they don't poop in it. Hung up, and this, since I've got this bed here, I can hang it up pretty high over here so that they can't poop in it. Yeah. We used to do all automated water. So I used to have and you guys have seen it, a really big protein tub right here that had an autofill on it. And I never had to worry about water. The problem is the buckets got really nasty and they were really hard to clean out. So this setup is a lot more work for me overall than my other setup was. But the gates work. It's better for them. They're healthier. It allows for days like this where it is going to rain all day long. They're not going to get out in it. Nani, you're so funny. They're all eating. they're all safe, they're not fighting, everybody has a place to eat, everybody's comfortable and dry and has clean water. It's definitely more work for me. It's added probably 15 minutes to my morning routine, which I need to kind of start to account for when I get up. But it's just working. I mean, I love it. We've got this elevated sleeping area that about 4 or 5 of them can sleep on the bunk beds. Somebody usually sleeps under on a night where I don't have them pinned up. We have ones, they sleep on this table during the day because the sun hits it just right. And then I've usually got a couple in here with 11 goats. Always kind of worried about space, but I think that this works out really well. So I'm really happy. Oh, Tinker. How tiny are you, Tink? Are you still tiny? Are you still a tiny goat? Yes, still very tiny, but she's growing, which is awesome. She just may be 3 before she's a full-size goat. I'm sorry that the light is so weird on you. You kind of look demonic there, babe. So that's my barn update for you guys, and just a little quick update for today. Tomorrow it's supposed to be beautiful, so hopefully I'll be able to film more, give you an update on the pigs and the boys and the calves. It's pouring rain right now. It's going to pour all day, so I'm not going to be able to get the camera out to see all the other animals. I love this girl. She doesn't want out. She just wants to be with me. Don't ya? Oh, Mom. Oh, hey, don't headbutt Tink. Yeah, hasn't done that at all in the last 12 hours. It's just because I'm sitting right here. I know. So if you guys have enjoyed this update, I'm hoping to get at least one more video up this week. Hopefully we'll be able to film Sunday and give you guys an update on Petunia. She's getting huge and hilarious, and the pigs and the boy goats and everybody else. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give me a thumbs up if you do. Leave me a comment and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notification bell down in the corner so that you know every time I put out a new video. We'll see you guys later.